So we'll call this part 2 of the 4runner build. Today we're going to look at the front shocks and a tyre fitment. Now, with the measurements that we got from our last run out, we ended up going with a Rancho, and again it's a compromise. We're going to be compromising a little bit of up travel, but that's okay because I don't really want the springs bending as far back as they were. I am going to get the full down travel the car's got, and we're using an RS 9000. The other thing I did with the shocks, because of the, the compromise you do have with the up and down travel, is so this distance here is the up travel, and then obviously going down is the down travel. I've put a couple of extra washers in here just to bring the shock down. So I'd rather have a little bit less up travel and more down travel. So these shock give me all the down travel I need, but the shock will foul out before I hit the bump stop. So in the rear we've chosen an Old Man Emu shock, an Old Man Emu steering damper. Got a bit of maintenance on that. So I thought, while I take those wheels off, the 4runners here, let's trial the Neg 23s. Neg 23, 15x8, pretty old school, on a 33 12.5 inch tyre. So we'll see how that sits inside that guard. No, I'm not actually sure on the Neg 23. I'm definitely not sure on the Neg 23 or the 12.5 inch wide if I don't want to put a flare on, because we're about 60 mil off the guard. That's a Neg 23 with a 12.5. Now Maxxis make a big shoe, but still I think a 10.5, and I'm not sure on the next size down. That's the front. It looks good and it fills the guard nicely. In the back I think I'm running about 50 mil. So I don't really want to put the pokey guard edging or the flare. I want to try and keep the chrome. So I'm going to have to find an offset that is flush with the car, but also if we do go into a more negative offset, I'm only 25 mil off that spring. So that's where the 12.5 inch wide tyre is not good. Here comes Phil. He's got some tyres in the back for me to trial. So I was lucky enough to have a friend, Phil, who had a set of 33 10.5 on 15x7 muddies laying around in his depot. So he brought them over and we've trial fitted them, and they're perfect. They're a Neg 12, and Nick from CarPro can get me some Neg 9s in a 15x7. We're inside the guard. I don't have to flare the body, which is what I didn't want to do. And we've got the 33 inch in height. Definitely the look I've been chasing. So I'm just working around the corner from home, and Maxxis have just called and said that the guys just dropped the tyres off. There we go. Cool. We'll drop them over to Nick. Got the motor all back together, all the crossover pipes, all the flanges that I changed. Ready for its big drive out to CarPro. Just pulling up now at Nick's. Get the tyres put on. So I wanted chrome, but Nick couldn't get chrome 15x7s in that offset, so we just went with white. And if I've got to, I'll just paint them black, or keep searching for those 15x7 chromes off the Land Cruiser 80 series. Just a little comparison with the Maxxis in the 33 10.5 15. They're on par with the old muddies, the old BFG muddies. So a bit interesting there, because the Maxxis that we've trialled in the past are a lot bigger than the current KM3. Geez, it drove nice. They balanced up beautifully. Boys did a great job again. So we've just ducked into here on the way home, on the way back to work. I'll air them down to 18 since they've just been fitted. 17. It's a different feeling driving on what you would call a decent tyre, as opposed to the original ones that came with the car. We're just plugging along, and we're going to just drive a few of the holes we drove the other day, and just sort of get a feel if these shock lengths are doing justice to the spring as well. Okay, so the few compromises that we've had to make, I'm happy with the front. I think the front shock, I took 20 mil off the front shock so that this wasn't as tight, so got that right. The upside was what I was worried about. Wheels right up and the shock's completely shut, so we'd probably have to extend that bump stop if it was a comp car. Now in the rear we've compromised quite a bit because even though that was the longest shock I could find, it's shorter than what the spring can travel. So it might be a case of when it's in the fab shop getting the bar work, we drop that mount at the top or we raise that bottom one. Because I didn't want to invert the rear springs on this one. Wanted to keep it as factory as possible. The up travel, that's pretty good, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to get any more because it's crunching the chassis. So there's plenty of shock left in that. So what we wanted to achieve, we've kept the car flareless. We've got 33-inch high tyres for clearance, and you know, I wanted to keep it original looking with the body, not having flares. So we'll do side steps and a rear bar. Adam will do a schmick job on that. But the travel in the rear, if I was to take that shock off, that tyre would hit the ground. So you know, once you've got a rear locker in it, it's not going to make a difference. But right now I can't drive this, it's spinning a wheel. So we'll back this up and just go a little bit more to the driver's side and it should just walk up. Alright, so we're just going to come back down through this, and I was going to take the shocks off just to prove to myself the theory, but I know it's what it is because we drove this with the cheese cutters a week ago, so I know how much air I got and it was a lot less than that. So I know there's probably about 40 mil more down travel, and that's going to bug me now, but it's okay, we'll get it sorted. Just worked out how I'm going to sort out that problem I've got with the rear shock, and the reason I went with the old man Emu is because they're soft, so I'm not going to be carrying weight in this. And what I've got at home, I've got a spare pair of flip plates, which what I'll do is I'll fit up, and then when Adam's got the truck in the shop doing the bar work, I'll get him to weld up a shock mount at the bottom, so I'll be shortening the shock, which will work perfectly. All in all, I'm happy with the build so far, but we're going to have to put it aside for a while. We've got a big hard social coming up with Bullet Truck, and then the 4runner's going to go to Adam's shop for some bar work. So this will conclude part 2 with the shock fitment, the tyres, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.